We'd like to build this place as a converging point, especially for Philippine modern art. And so we'd like to thank you who have been kind and generous in supporting the arts. The Arete itself is a gamble. We're making a big push for creativity, for innovation, but creativity not just in the arts. We'd like to strengthen creativity in the various disciplines, even in management or the sciences. I'm happy to know, yeah, there have been, I think there was even a physicist from UP who came here, physics and art. So bridges are being built among the disciplines. And these connections, I think, can be stimuli for greater innovation and creativity. The hope is that when we build this structure called the Arete, of course there will be the theaters, there will be galleries.
Returned to its original condition by the brilliant conservators at the Roberto Lopez Conservation Center, who was supposed to be represented here by Marga Villanueva, but she's not here, but her mother is here. I hope you've enjoyed these tidbits of interesting trivia as much as I have enjoyed sharing them with you. Thank you.
Competition 1986, sponsored by the Art Association of the Philippines and Makati West Rotary. We were in the Rotary Club and we wanted to do something for the arts. Patronage for the arts at that time, this was in 1985, was in the doldrums. And our co-Rotarian, Ed Castrillo, was pushing this idea for a nationwide open arts competition. This is a competition in all areas of art: painting, sculpture, mixed media, printmaking. His aim was to spark renewed interest in the arts, especially for artists, to be inspired to dedicate more time and effort to their craft. On the side, we in Rotary were hoping we could raise some funds for our civic projects. We were very idealistic then. We worked hard and launched a nationwide art competition at a time when people were marching in the streets, throwing confetti from the rooftop of buildings, calling for justice for Ninoy and an end to the dictatorship this would have on the artists and their artworks. When the artworks came in, about 90% of the works turned out to be highly political in nature. Many were dark, angry, and depressing. They dealt on the theme of human rights abuses, hardships under the dictatorship, abuses by the military and persons in authority, salvaging, trampling of rights of organized labor, and so on. This competition brought out the anger and frustration of many artists. Although many of the works were technically good, very few of the works were sold. The art market at that time was ambivalent about its direction and not in the mood to buy revolutionary paintings or social realist paintings. In the words of our past president in Rotary, Freddie Winicky, it was a Pyrrhic victory. While we were able to get artists together and work on their art, we could hardly sell them, so financially speaking, we barely broke even. But as it turned out, our biggest consolation was that we had rallied the art community together at this crucial point, and furthermore, we had provided an occasion, a platform as it were, for artists to be launched or to get better known. But anyway, I now bid farewell to the many splendored Chiragra. I am happy you have come out of your closet, and I'm certain you will be better appreciated by more people in this new home of yours, the Ateneo Art Gallery. Thank you.
I hesitated a little because I thought the paintings eloquently spoke enough for the collection, but anyway, I'll make it brief. The first one, Renato Habulan's 1984 Magnificat. Actually, the word Magnificat refers to the Virgin's meeting with her cousin Elizabeth, where she uttered a prayer a prayer of acceptance of her role in the Salvic story, the mystery, and that was not the role of a queen mother, as most people expected, but a suffering mother who shall witness the trials of her son. And the painting forebodes our own country's trials, difficulties, before we could possibly achieve the happiness or heaven of some freedom. Remember that this was 1984. The social realist Ato Habulan fought the repressive regime with his paintbrush. Of course, the patroness of the arts then was the true, the good, and the beautiful, but the social realists felt that their paintbrush could eloquently express the plight of the country. Moving on decades later, you have another social realist, Neil Manalo. If you look at his painting, he's also a social realist. Sometimes the younger social realists are called subtle, but they're not really subtle, they're a product of their times. They use candor, wit, humor to portray their criticism of society. You have here a scene called Condolences from Politicians, and the scene has a lot of pretenses, albeit obvious and known to all, but pretenses nevertheless are shown by politicians condoling. Now, what does this mean for a collector like me? This actually spans my lifetime in a way, my adult life. In the late 80s, I was a young professional filled with anxiety about career. Perhaps it was fashionable then to have some angst. And so you had dark paintings. Now I'm much older, happier, more relaxed. And so my paintings, which are critical of society, are filled with humor. So that's the history of the two paintings. So I hope I've been brief, and so thank you very much.
I don't have angst. It's all here in this camp. No. But yeah, that's right. My rule when it comes to paintings is they have to be happy. I have to enjoy looking at them. I don't want to see something that will depress me. So I've always gravitated towards collecting in that sense. I'm not a big collector at all. But I knew Pasita Abad. We used to have lunch in her house when I was still working in SGB. We had common friends, and so they would bring me over, so I met her. She had a beautiful, very Filipino home with a lot of tribal touches. And admittedly then, her art didn't appeal to me. But when this series came out, I just fell in love with the colors. So when the office decided we were in an art acquisition mode then, we acquired a few of her works, and I said, oh sige, I'll get one na rin. By that time, I could afford it, unlike the earlier days when you were struggling and you had no money to spend on art. And this leaned on my office wall for years. I would look at it, but I never got around to hanging it. So when I was talking to Yael and how we could help the gallery, we've talked about how can we create an acquisition fund, because nga, as PL said, we're completely dependent on benefactors. The university doesn't provide for an acquisition fund. So I said, oh, maybe I'll sell some of my art and then we'll start a small fund and we'll try to get others to do the same. Then I mentioned I had a pasita, and Yael goes, you know, we don't have a pasita in our collection. And I said, oh, sige, I won't sell it, I'll just give it to you na lang. So that's how it came to be. And I will admit, now that I see it hanging, I kind of regret giving it. It really is very pretty and very happy. But I'm very pleased that it will be hanging in a public institution and that other people will get to enjoy it, other people will get. That's what museums are for me. Thank you.